Hi, Jeff here, and I want to do a quick video about there was a post here on LinkedIn. I can't remember your name. We'll look at your name again after I see it because I can't see the LinkedIn thing at the same time as I'm doing this video. Um, you mentioned that the best salespeople have no degrees, and that kind of thing, and best people that get quota are people with no degrees because they're able to get their quota because they need to get their quota. I want to give an anecdote. 35 years ago, I want to give an example from one of my teachers. So 35 years ago, I was doing a second degree in French, another degree in French at Portland State University, and we had a brand new professor had just arrived, um, and uh, and and I during my teaching during that year doing my second bachelor's degree, I did a teaching practicum on teaching French to beginners. And so I was the assistant of his class, and I'd actually been even in high school. I had been a teaching assistant and grading homework and stuff for high school French and all that in Spanish. But so in college for my second degree, it's my fifth year. David Wetzel, okay, Professor David Wetzel, he had come to Portland State University, and I was during that year I was his assistant, and he would invite me. He would actually sometimes actually let me teach the class, especially when I was doing job interviews at other universities for the next jump, which worked out. And I got a lot of teaching practice out of this, and I was really happy with that too. Got to actually teach the class rather than just grade the homework, right? That's what teaching assistants just grade a homework, right? I got to teach the class, which was very instrumental for my next job, where I got to go be a teacher overseas and sent by Portland State on a fellowship for a year. but but the, what happened was during that year, he would have me over to his home. I can't remember how many times. I would say kind of like two or three times per quarter because it was kind of a trimester system, a quarter system. So, 11, 12 weeks of classes. He'd have me come over and we would grade the homework and the exams together, and he would do peer review. We'd actually do this and do peer review and grade it and actually do grade them together. And then he'd take me out for a steak lunch. He was a great. He knew how to motivate people. He knew how to motivate assistant. I was getting my practicum stuff. I was paying for my practicum. He'd buy me a steak lunch a couple times a quarter, to motivate me to want to be his assistant. Hey, that's great. That's a great little investment. But during those dinners, I learned a lot from David Wetzel. And some of the things I learned were his perspective on language teaching, his perspective on philosophy of language teaching and language learning. Learned a lot from him. And one of the things I learned was he said to me, Jeff, and I was a straight A student, okay? During that year, I got straight A's during that year, and I'd always been in the dean's list. I'd always been in high school and college. I was in the National Honor Societies all through for high school. Well, not completely only to that. I didn't have the best grades of everyone because I had to work. I was actually working full time to pay for my schooling, in addition to teaching, in addition to my degrees. So I was working hard to do all that. But he said that as I was teaching that, and I would go on to teach. He really wanted me to do well to teach onward. And he said, Jeff, the one thing about to understand about students is that the students, and this comes back to your question here about degrees and actually levels. It's not just a degree; it's actually your level of the kind of your grade point average, or what do you want to call this thing in whatever countries. Grade point average is the word in the United States, but it just means how well the honors or what you didn't get out of your degree, right? So I get a little background now. Here's my restaurant, and he said that the students that get A's, he says, and this is 35 years ago, so the pay scale is completely different. But I'm going to say what he said back then, okay? Um, we're 35 years later. He said that the students that get straight A's usually are the ones that end up with jobs that get $35,000 per year. So that's kind of what you get. He said the students that get B's, B average, um, and this is the American system. So you have A, B, C, D, F. Okay, so A, B, C, D is kind of the whole thing, and then F is you flunk it, so it's completely failure. So really, it's A, B, C, D. It's a 4-point system. So you do everything on 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 points A, 2, 3 points B, and then you take all the exams and stuff and all the courses, and you multiply it all, and then you divide it by the number of exams or whatever, and you figure out a point average. And so if you have a 3.5, or if you got a 3.1, or kind of gives you an average, and that rates out to the kind of, if it's an A average, a B average, a C average, a D average. Okay, so that's kind of understand that. It's for those who don't know that. Um, and so what he said with the A students that get these constant A's, A plus, A and A minus, just in the A range. This is the one that get thirty to $35,000 per year for their pay. He says the B average students, B plus, B non, B to B minus, they're the ones that get like $50,000, $60,000 per year for their pay. And he says the ones that get the C average, who are kind of average folks in the school, they're the ones that get $100,000 per year, because they're the ones actually they're the ones actually getting jobs that pay really well. And a lot of the jobs are actually used in marketing and sales, right? So this correlates with what you're saying very closely, is that it doesn't matter what your degree is. It doesn't matter what your knowledge is here. It's how you apply that knowledge to the audience, to the people you work with, to your audience, and how you sell it to your customer. And usually the people, to be honest, I look back, the people that are actually doing the C's, they're out doing partying. They're not always partying, but they're kind of doing other stuff with people, right? They're kind of doing things with people. And when you got to sell, you got to understand how people work and think, right? So whereas these A average folks, they're the ones that kind of like the library rats. They're all scutting doing their studies and stuff and reading and stuff, and so they're not doing being social. So they're getting the jobs that are introvert jobs, which are the ones that make less money. So there's a bit of that comes into play, and I've seen that over the years, and I totally agree with you. And I think I just thought this anecdote would kind of be a fun one to affirm what you're saying, and to kind of support that. Thanks.